Told you just a little bit about my friend Alberto. And I told you how the Lord used him in my life and how exciting it was. One of the things that most hurt us going to the mission field was that we would lose our kids would lose their family members. They would lose their grandparents because they'd still be their grandparents. But this is long before the days of social media, long before the days of being able to pick up an iPhone and do FaceTime or to do a Zoom call. Back in those days, it cost $3 to $4 a minute to make a phone call back to the U.S., and missionary support was not enough to afford that. I actually went with a ham radio. Believe it or not, I went with a ham radio. I learned how, and I was KC4DMO, Kilo Charlie 4 Dumb Missionary Operator is what they used to call me. And I only got as high as a technician license, but I used to call back and forth to the States on that. But while I was in Mexico, didn't even have the ham radio. And but the Bible says in Matthew chapter 19, verse 29, and everyone that hath forsaken houses or brethren or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands for my sake shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life. And so when you serve Jesus, he gives it to you here and he gives it to you there. We arrived in Mexico, and it's the funniest thing in the world because Alberto and Berta became grandparents to my children. I could show you picture after picture. And if I knew how to operate YouTube better, I would do that and show them to you. But we came home from language school one day, and our children were in a little Christian school. And there was a lady who didn't speak English taking care of our son, David. David was maybe, I don't know, he was 1 year old, a little over 1 year old, born in November. We'd arrived a year after November in January. So he's a year and 14 months, 15 months old. We came home from language school, and Betty searches. She was very anxious. She did not want to leave David alone with a lady who couldn't even understand if he said cookie. Of course, David learned Spanish much faster and better than we did, and Guadalupe taught him all that. But we came home one day, and David was nowhere to be found. And so we searched the house high and low, and we went in and tried to talk to Guadalupe. Now, we don't speak Spanish, and Guadalupe doesn't speak English. And so, where is David? And we didn't know how to say anything in Spanish, and we kept saying, David, David, and the baby, and holding our hands up trying to show the baby. And we looked all over the house, couldn't find him. And finally, we heard enough come out of her mouth that she said, Alberto. And we looked at each other like, what in the world? This man has come to our house. He's taken our child, and he's left with our child. So we go to the store. It's a small, they're called tiendas. It's a small, like basically a garage business, and they sell sports equipment there. I spent literally hundreds of hours there later. But we walked in, and there was David standing dressed up in a soccer uniform from a team called the Chivas. The Chivas was Alberto's favorite team, and David had on the what do you call it? The shirt, the polo. He had on the shorts. He had on the little soccer shoes. He had on the socks. He was decked out. And we arrived, and Alberto holds up him and holds him over, goes, stinky, stinky, and points at his diaper and gave our son back. But you know what's so beautiful? It scared us. I'll be honest, it scared us. But to tell you the truth, what a wonderful thing happened. What a wonderful friendship was made there. And my children loved Alberto like he was their family. I want you to know that if you allow your children to go to the mission field, and you allow them, if you take them and just put them in the Lord's hands, he will take care of them, and it will make some of the greatest connections you've ever made. Don't let that fear stop you. God bless you. Thanks for listening. There'll be more stories coming up.